Story time of how I caught my insane random roommate stealing my husband's boxers.
So when I was like 24, I lived with two of my best friends and we got this cute little house together. And then we lived together for about 2 years and one of them ended up getting engaged, and so she moved out to live with her fiance. So because of that, my other best friend and I decided that we wanted to keep the house, so we would just fill her spot with a random roommate. So we went in all of the Denver Facebook like roommate groups and we put a posting, we put like our pictures, and we put a little bit about us and asked for a female the same age. We found this one girl that we thought was really cute, and so we took her to ice cream and met her, and we had this whole sit down meeting with her. She seemed so normal, so cute. So we were like, yeah, we like would love to live with you. So we invite her to live with us. She ends up moving in like a few months later, and that is where everything starts to go downhill. So it starts off by us slowly starting to notice that random things are going missing. Like things from our closets, things from the kitchen, like it's just like little things that are like annoying roommate problems at first. One day I changed from my normal schedule. I usually go into work at like 7:30 a.m. This day I was working from home, or I took a sick day, so I slept in. So I'm still in my bed at like 9 a.m. and my door opens to my room. And my room had this like bathroom like leading into my room. And it was just my bathroom. Like there were bathrooms for everybody in the house. So I wake up and I'm like, why is somebody in my bathroom? And slowly this girl like comes into my room and she's like looking around. And so I pop up out of bed and I'm like, hello? What are you doing here? And she's like, oh, sorry. Oh, I was just, doesn't even give me a reason. Just is like, oh, sorry, and leaves. So I'm like, that was really weird. So that's when we start to get really suspicious, right? And then we slowly start to notice like her wearing things of ours. So we're like, oh, she's definitely stealing our stuff. But we're not sure of it yet, right? We're like, okay, she could have the same things. Like we're not gonna assume anything crazy. Like we don't know for sure yet. So then one day she asks to borrow my like charger or something. So she takes my charger and she's borrowing it, and then like the next day I need it back and she's not home. So I go into her room to get my charger back, and while I'm in there, I notice that there are 2 of our Bluetooth speakers, some of my best friend's clothes, some of my clothes, but then the real kicker is that on her bed, there's a pair of my boyfriend's boxers, my now husband, and they're just sitting on her bed like pajamas that were clearly worn with her t-shirt that she wore to from the night before. You know how you fold them up and put them back on your bed if you're gonna like wear them again. And I was like, so at first I'm like, I'm literally gaslighting myself. I'm like, there's no way. So I text her and I'm like, hey, while I was in your room, I took back some of my stuff that I found, and also I took back my boyfriend's boxers that you've been wearing as pajamas. And this was the first time we had like confronted her. And she's like, oh my gosh, no, those are not Jared. My husband is Jared. Those are not Jared's boxers. Those are my friend Charlie, who's in town visiting. And I'm like, immediately like, oh fuck. Okay, that was so weird of me to even assume that she would do that. Like who would do something that crazy and psycho? Like, of course she didn't do that. And so I'm like, oh shoot, my bad. Like, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I assumed that. It's just the same pair. This pair of boxers was like super old. Like they're like from when he was probably in high school. Like they are super old boxers. They're like tatted, they're like ratted up. They've got holes in specific locations. So luckily, before I had taken the boxers back, I had taken a picture of them on her bed and then like picked them up and assessed them, because I was like, I want to see if these are what I think they are. I had looked where the holes on the boxers were. Like there was one like on the back right by the tag. And then I looked through all of my laundry before I called her out, right? To make sure that this pair of boxers was not like somewhere hidden in my laundry. And I couldn't find them anywhere. But when she said that they were her friends, I was like, okay, I just can't find them. Maybe they're just missing. So after that, she's like, no, they're my friends. Later that day, and I had looked through my whole hamper that was in the laundry room. I go back down to the laundry room because I just like have this feeling, and I look, and that same pair of my husband's boxers are stuffed back in the bottom of my hamper, and I pull them out, and sure enough, it's the same ones with the same hole on the tag, the same rip by the like right leg. So she was wearing my husband's boxers to sleep. So this starts to become like a problem, right? So me and my best friend are like, once we find out that this is real, we're like, oh no, we're going covert operation here, we're going in. So we wait until she leaves one day and we sneak into her room and, sorry, invasion of privacy, I don't care, you know what's more of an invasion of privacy? Wearing somebody's husband's boxers to sleep in. We go into her room and we look through her closet and like her dresser drawers for our clothes that we want back. And we find my entire wardrobe, every single thing that I own. Like, I don't even know how I didn't realize this much stuff was missing. We find everything. Okay, also, this is gonna be another side story, but while we were living with this girl, she's like 22 maybe, she gets knocked up by her friend. So at this point, she's like 6 months pregnant. So she's got a bump, right? And she's like stealing my extra small crop tops. So that was weird in itself. I have to hurry because I'm late for work, but the way this ends is probably equally as funny and consistent with the rest of the story. So one day, my roommate, my best friend, and I, we are doing another one of our covert operations, okay? Because she's not onto us yet. We haven't quite like confronted her. We're trying to compile the evidence, okay? So one day we're doing covert operation number 2. We're like looking through everything because my roommate at this point is like missing some nice workout stuff. And we're like, we're going in. So my best friend is guarding the door while we're searching, or I'm searching through like cabinets, through shit. I'm like, I'm getting our shit back. And so she's guarding the door. She's like, she's back, she's back. She's like yelling from the front door. And I'm like, oh my God, like trying to close doors. We're like scrambling, turning off lights. I run out of the room, but I leave my phone in the room on the dresser. So she comes home and she comes in and she's like, whose phone is this? And I was like, fuck. Okay, it's time, like we're doing it. We have to have the confrontation. And so I walk out and I'm like, it's mine. I was taking my stuff back. And she's like, what? And I'm like, I was taking my stuff back. I went into your room and I found literally my entire wardrobe, all of my shit. I just think it's really weird that you lied about it. I've asked you before specifically, especially with the boxers, like if they were mine and told you I was taking them back and you lied and made an excuse that they were somebody else's. And she was like, well, things get mixed up in the dryer. And I was like, are you insane? Things don't just get mixed up in the dryer. Sorry, things don't just get mixed up in the dryer. And if they do, you return them. You don't just like keep them as yours. And she was like, I don't know, I guess I just have sisters. Like things just get like swapped around all the time. And I was like, bitch, I have sisters. That is not how it works. I can promise you that. Anyways, so then like it was radio silence between the three of us for like a month straight. And then she was 6 months pregnant anyways. So she told us that she was gonna move out early. And we were like, thank you, Jesus.
So here's a story time of how my ex from 10 years ago has been getting catfished by someone thinking it was me for the past 6 years. Yeah, so I broke up with this partner because my father died and we had a pregnancy that wasn't seen to fruition, like whatever. And there was just a lot of shit. Like, there wasn't anything bad that happened between us. I was 18 and he was 23 when we first got together. So, like, this is my first serious relationship. Like, whatever. And to my knowledge, like, well, not to my knowledge, but the truth is, I haven't spoken to this person in 10 years. Because why would I? Because this man got married and has 2 children. So yesterday, I get a message from our only mutual friend that said like, hey, like he reached out to me and said you guys had like a conversation that didn't end well and like yada yada, like this mutual friend was like pleading his case, saying that like, hey, like X, Y, and Z is happening, he's been a therapist, like whatever. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? So I find out that there is a burner account that has been existing since 2019. 2019. We broke up in 2016. That has been messaging my ex, pretending to be me. and that like I had reached out saying that I was like self-harming, and like I was constantly trying to get him to admit that he still loved me, and that like I was like constantly, consistently hitting him up in 2019, 2020, and 2022. This account even went out of their way to message my ex on my fucking birthday, being like, oh, I wish you had told me happy birthday. What? This man is married. I would never talk to a married man, regardless. So I'm reading these messages, and every time my ex yesterday kept trying to be like, so how are you? Can we talk on the phone? Avoidance. And the conversation kept circling back to like, tell me how much you hate your wife. Tell me how much you wish your wife was me. Apparently I was messaging him being like, I wish that could have been us. I wish we could have had the baby. I wish that like we had a family. And I realized fucking Catfish was his wife the entire fucking time. Imagine being insecure about your husband's previous relationship, and instead of just letting that rock, you pretend to be the ex. He wasn't thinking about me until you made him think about me. What the
It's time to post a story time on how my ex literally broke me. And it took me like 4 years to heal from it. And I actually had posted this right after it happened, but then I deleted it because he like called me and was like, why did you post that? My sister saw it, now my parents know, and like, okay, your parents know you're a piece of shit? Thank God. Thank God. All right, so it all started when he moved to LA. I hate even talking about him because I've really moved on from this, but this is just fucking insane to me. Like, this is insane. And I've told people this story and they're like, what the fuck? So I moved to LA to chase his dreams. And then I could tell this mother's heart was not in it anymore. In it as in the relationship. And I kept having conversation after conversation with him about it because I loved him and I just wanted him to come back to me, and I knew that he didn't really give a fuck anymore. I knew that he didn't really give a fuck. And sometimes I was on the phone with him one time and I started crying, and he literally just like ignored it because he was with his friends, and he was like, I didn't want to make it awkward. What? So anyway, I put on my big girl pants after like a month of this bullshit. And also my most popular video, the only video I have that went viral, is about this man. This boy. And I put on my big girl pants and I said, all right, we gotta end this right here. So I broke up with him over the phone because he was in LA. And it was like, okay, because like, you know, I knew that he didn't want to be with me, but I also knew that he was too much of a fucking coward to end it himself because he's a literal baby. My cat gets really worried about me when I get upset. So 2 weeks pass, and I, of course, was very depressed, but I wasn't as depressed as I was about to be because of what happened after this. So 2 weeks pass. I'm sitting on the couch one night, all by myself. My roommates were gone. He calls me. It was 11 p.m., 9 p.m. his time. So I answer. Immediately, he's got an attitude, and he's like, okay, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me because I'm going to know if you're lying. I'm going to know if you're lying. Okay. I was scared as fuck. I was like, what? Did you cheat on me? Did you cheat on me? For once, I could truthfully say, no, I didn't, baby. No, I didn't. And it had only been 2 weeks, so I hadn't even given any thought to any other person in a romantic way. Like, I was just depressed. He said, no. And he was like, okay, well, I just tested positive for STD. I don't remember what it was. And I haven't hooked up with anybody else, so there's no way I could have gotten it. You obviously cheated. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. I haven't been with anybody since. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And then we hung up the phone, whatever. I was shook. I was very shook to my core. So I made an appointment at the health center at my college to get tested. And then a couple more weeks passed. Maybe it was only like 1 week. I don't know. But I do know it was Halloween. And that's why when Lizzie says, and you did it on Halloween. You did it on Halloween, motherfucker. I was shopping at Target with my mom and grandma. Another call from him. And I'm like, hello? Tone has completely shifted. He's like, hey, I just want to let you know that it was a false positive, and I'm really sorry. My naive ass is just like, oh, okay. I'm just fucking oblivious because I still haven't put 2 and 2 together. I'm like, okay. He's like, happy Halloween. I'm like, happy Halloween. Goodbye. Then I go to my appointment at the health center. They're like, all right, you're negative. And I told them the whole situation of what was going on, and they so gently and kindly looked at me and said, there are no false positives when it comes to STD testing. This isn't something that has false positives. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, right. Immediately the second I left that building, I called him and just fucking ripped into him. And then another thing, and then he was, I just gave it to him, bro. I'm like, you're a fucking coward, you're a fucking idiot, you're a fucking gaslighter, you're a manipulator. Because he was all of those things, and he was a Pisces, like a triple Pisces. Come to find out, because I was still friends with, his friends that were still at my college where we lived. I hung out with him a few times, and this one girl was like, hey, did you break up with him? And I was like, yeah, I had to, unfortunately. And she was like, I thought so. He told everybody that he broke up with you. What a fucking coward. What a little piece of shit under my shoe. So yeah, that's what actually broke me. I realized, oh, he is with somebody. He is with somebody, and that girl had the STD, which he never even actually had. He just called because he wanted to be a fucking dick. And I was like, oh, okay. Yep. You believed this girl that you just met over me. And yeah, then I was really fucked up, and for a really long time over that. It really fucked me up. And I hate him, and I only wish him the worst. And last I heard, he was living in a gated community, which I call prison.
Get ready with me as I tell you guys the first ever time I got caught sneaking out at my grandparents' house. P.S. I live here, so definitely the scariest day of my fucking life. Let me start with my grandpa raised 3 daughters, and I was dumb enough to think that he wouldn't think anything of it. And honestly, this was a really normal Friday night. I honestly wasn't even planning to sneak out at all, but my friend ended up coming over. Mind you, we were originally hanging out with some friends, and then at the time my curfew was about 10 p.m. So I ended up coming back early, but she ended up staying out a little bit later than me, which I didn't realize how sus that looked in the moment, but it was. And it's the beginning of how I got caught. So fast forward a little into the night, she wasn't at my house yet, so I ended up going into my bathroom and started to do makeup because I was like, oh, they're not gonna think anything of it. Like, I'm just a girl, I'm doing makeup, and why the fuck would they think anything of it? But P.S., I never did makeup, so I don't know what the fuck I was doing, but these are just all little hints and clue points of why I got caught. I'm stupid. I ended up coming home and I started doing my makeup in the bathroom, and That's when I kind of like heard them like whispering and stuff like in the living room, and I kind of didn't really think anything of it because I've snuck out before, but makeup was not my big thing in ninth grade. I wasn't really into that stuff apparently, so I never did makeup. But that night I was going to a party, so I wanted to, look good, a little better than I usually do. So I was doing my makeup, didn't think nothing of it at all, and I think like an hour went by, and then that's when my friend ended up pulling up. Everything was normal. I ended up letting her in. She said hi to my grandparents. We backtracked to my room, We went to my room, and this is where it all starts. So I come out in a full face of makeup. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, but apparently I thought that was smart. She looked like she just did her makeup too. You could just tell, like, we weren't going to bed. We were not going to bed. We weren't. So I honestly forgot where I ended off, but she came over. We were already glammed up. We had our makeup done, and so we went to my room just to hang out and like make Tik Toks and stuff, so we wouldn't think that they would think anything of it, but we were wrong. So as we were doing our makeup, my grandpa comes in and does his nightly goodnight and to check in on us and everything. Usually when they think something's gonna go down, you can kind of tell because like they're kind of sus, but he was playing it off so fucking well, bro. Like, mind you, to this day, he admitted that he knew exactly what I was doing, and as soon as he went to bed, I ended up doing the countdown, so I waited like 10-15 minutes for them to like settle down and actually go to bed, because they usually go to sleep pretty fast, because mind you, they drink a lot, so they usually just end up going right to bed. So we set a timer for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, continue doing our Tik Toks, just doing girl stuff. So when the timer went off, we ended up getting our stuff. And mind you, my window is right next to the fence that leads to the out front. So it's a pretty easy escape from my room. So we ended up doing that. We ended up getting out of the window. We were waiting outside for a little bit because we were waiting for one of our friends to pick us up. So we were just sitting out there for a little bit, and everything was going good. Like, there was no issues at all. And then our friend picked us up. Oh, hello. It's still going. So as our friend picked us up, everything was going good. We were hanging out. We were chilling. I'm pretty sure we went to go get another one of our friends. And this was like an hour into us hanging out with these people. And we were driving around and listening to music. And mind you, no one's calling my phone at this time of night. No. So I didn't have a boyfriend or nothing. Like, no one's calling me at this time of night. But then I start hearing my fucking phone buzz. So I pull out my phone out of my back pocket, and I had a gut feeling, like my stomach kind of just fell to my ass, and I kind of had a feeling. So I looked at my phone, and it was my grandpa calling. And when I tell you, that is probably the scariest contact to see on your phone when you're doing something you are not supposed to be doing. Because, bitch, dude, it was scary. So I kind of just let it pass. I low-key thought that maybe he dialed me. I'm not sure why I thought that. So I didn't answer that one. And then it, like, waited out 5 minutes, and then my grandma started calling me. And I was like, all right, this is no butt dial or fucking nothing, bro. This is no accident. I'm about to get caught. I'm done. I'm like, my life's over. At this point, I was having a fucking panic attack because I was like, these bitches don't fuck around. So I was like, I'm done. I'm done for it. Like, they're going to send me away. So, again, I didn't answer that one because I wasn't ready for confrontation, I don't think. I was a little too scared for it. So I just declined it again. And then my grandpa started calling again. So at that point, I had to answer. Like, there was no getting out of it. I had to answer that call. So I ended up answering, and it was just a straight, where the fuck are you? And I was just like driving around with my friends. Mind you, my excuse was that my friend was having a panic attack and we needed to take her to her house to go get medicine with a group of friends. Like, who uses that excuse? Apparently I do. Also, another thing, why the fuck would I be going out my window, locking my door, turning my TV on so, like, you can hear commotion, just to go bring my friend to her house for a panic attack? Anyone in their right minds would probably go wake up their parents and drive their friend to that house. But for some reason, I thought that excuse was gonna slide because I think because they were old, I thought maybe they were dumb. So as I was on the phone with my grandpa and he's like, where are you, blah, blah, blah. I told him where I was and he pretty much was just like, get your ass home and everything. And I was like, all right. And he was like, no, stay on the phone. Like, he made me sit and stay on the fucking phone with him. So I was like, all right, it's about to go down. Like, there's no way out of this one. Because, like, you could just tell in his voice I was fucked. Also, P.S., don't mind my eyebrows. They're always fucked up. So I stayed on the phone with him, and I ended up telling my friend that was driving, like, you need to book it back to my house, like, now. Like, I'm not fucking around. Like, I was terrified. And so they ended up taking me all the way back. And I had them, like, pull down the street a little bit because I wasn't going to have them, like, come to my house because I didn't know if they were waiting outside for me. No. He was halfway down the street running around trying to look for a car. Psycho. Psycho. So I didn't see him, but we ended up pulling over down the street, and I got out of the car, and I seen, like, in the distance, someone running toward me. Sprinting toward me. And I was like, okay, what the fuck is happening? And it was my grandpa, and I tried to get them to, like, speed away, because I honestly wasn't trying to get any of my friends in trouble either, because what the fuck, that's not me. And so I ended up trying to get them to speed away, and he, like, hangs on to the passenger window. Like, literally grabs onto it, so they stop. And he, like, blah, blah, moral of the story, I went back home. They took my friend's phone, because she left it here because of her location. They took my friend's phone in their room and locked it in their room. So she couldn't come back. She couldn't get it back. And I was stuck with them. Moral of the story, do not ever, if you're planning on going out to sneak out, don't ever get ready beforehand, because they will find out, and don't ever make dumb excuses like me either. Honestly, just don't sneak out. It's not worth it. Not worth it. Not worth the grounding, but bye.
No, what really sucks is that I've been through hell and back for the past 3 years, and I've continued to put myself out there when it comes to dating, whether that's on apps or in person, giving people my number when I meet them. I've really been intentional with it and tried, despite all I've been through, to put myself out there. And in doing so, I am just constantly reminded that what I have going on is too much for anybody to handle. And I get that, and it just sucks being reminded time after time. And I just feel like I am really trying hard to date and be intentional and be honest about my situation. And I know I have a huge surgery coming up in a week and a half, and that's not light for anybody to hear. But recently I went on a couple dates with somebody, and after like 2 dates I told them what was going on because I felt like I needed to be honest because it was coming up, and it's not something I like to give, to tell anybody that this is going on. And that person a couple of days after that ended up texting me that they were seeing somebody else and it had progressed, and they wanted to be transparent with me, and that they didn't want to continue things because of the other relationship. And I understood and was glad that they were honest with me. And so a week later I ended up going on a date with somebody else, and I know that I'm getting close to time for my surgery, but again, I'm trying to put effort there. And even though it should be the last thing on my list and right now with this going on, and I went on one date with that person and it was really good, and I was really surprised, and we ended up going on another date, and that date was really good, and again I was super surprised and was hopeful, and I did end up telling this person what was going on with me because it's getting close to my surgery and I felt like they should know. And a couple of days after that, just got the text that's literally word for word what the other person said, and that they were seeing somebody else and it progressed and they wanted to be transparent with me. And I think what hurts the most is that these are messages that they obviously, like, I don't know if they've used ChatGPT or what, but tried not to hurt my feelings and telling me that what I have going on is a lot. Even though I know it is, but this is like a slap in the face that they both said exactly the same message. It just tells me that this is a lot, and I get it's a lot, and I don't know when it's ever not going to be a lot. And so it just sucks when I've put so much time and effort into dating and to being more than what's situation I am in. And I feel like I could give a lot in a relationship, and all anybody sees is that, oh, here's a girl with a lot of medical problems, and like I can't deal with that. And I get it, and I don't blame them. But when you've put so much effort in like I have, and I really have been super intentional with everything that I've done, it sucks because I feel like I don't deserve it. I feel like I deserve more than to be let down time after time. And I look at my medical stuff as a strength, not a weakness. And I still believe that, and I'm going to continue to believe that because I have to pretty much. And yeah, so I just don't even have words to what I'm feeling, and I never take videos like this, but I wanted it to be a reminder that it's not always gonna feel this heavy, and I know I have the right persons out there that can handle what I'm going through. But today it feels really hard, feeling like I have too much for somebody to handle, and when I have so much to offer, it just sucks.
Hey girl, glad you picked up. I got a story for you. It's gonna be a long one, so I gotta catch you up so we can talk about what's happening right at the very current moment, okay? As y'all know, I just got fired from my job, so we gotta backtrack to what started this whole thing. Now, if you're just joining the group chat, let me introduce myself. My name is Kalia, and this is not my usual content, but I've been waiting for this very particular event to happen for me to tell my story. So here we are. Now, the story is actually going to start from when I first got hired. I was in a training class for 13 weeks, and we're going to talk about this girl. We're going to call her Horsemouth, okay? And Horsemouth befriended me. I mean, I'm very open to having friends. I will befriend a stranger. Personally, I think I'm very much so a girl's girl. I love sharing anything. You ask me anything, I'm not gonna hold back. I'm not gonna be like, why are you asking me? I'm very helpful. I think that there's enough money and free stuff to go around that I don't think I need to withhold anything, you know? So anyways, after the 13 weeks, me and Horsemouth became pretty close. We had the same schedule. We had breaks together, lunch together, the whole nine. And we have a night shift, so it's really hard for us to do anything else other than be at work. In the months that passed on, we actually have a great bond. Like, I think of her as like a little sister. She is a couple years younger than me. And Horsemouth has been to my house a couple times, met some of my friends. And it came to a point where I even invited her to my birthday trip to the Poconos. And my birthday trip went pretty well. Everybody got along. We had guys and girls, no arguments. And we ended up making a girls chat from the people that went on the trip, which is all my friends from different paths of lives. And we were planning on just doing a bunch of things for summer. This is like right before summer. My birthday's in March. About, I would say, a week of having the chat, Horsemouth mutes the chat, but she's still able to see what's going on in the chat. You know, she's replying in the beginning pretty well. And we just throw around ideas for what we want to do this summer. We make a whole summer checklist, like the whole shebang. Now, it's not becoming like the beginning of April. My best friend is in the chat, and she sends a party in Brooklyn that is like 2 a ticket, or you get one for yourself. Now, this chat had 7 girls, so it was uneven from the beginning. And when we were sending out the invitations, we were basically planning out if, people in the chat are going to buddy up with each other, who's going to meet with each other. We're literally planning it out. And we realized that Horsemouth is not talking, and we tag her. We all have iPhones, so we use the @ to tag her. She's still not replying. And I think this day I'm off from work where I can't, see her in person. So me and my best friend get a ticket together. The other girls, I believe, either get their own ticket or they get partnered up. And the next day, I go in and I asked Horsemouth, I said, hey, did you check the chat? We put an invite in there for a party that's in the next month. And want to know if you want to go. You could bring a friend or whatever. She's like, oh, so who am I going with? I said, well, everybody kind of partnered up. So you're going to have to either bring a friend or you could pay for your own ticket. And she's like, oh, okay, I don't want to go. And I thought that was the end of that. About 2 more weeks passed, and my boyfriend, which I don't see very often because we have conflicting schedules, he comes and meets me for lunch instead of me and her sharing lunch. And I just warn her, hey, I'm not going to be there for lunch. I'm actually going to go get lunch with my boyfriend. And she, goes ahead and goes, okay, and walks away. I come back and she's giving me a lot of attitude. Again, I'm not assuming that it's me because I communicated. She gets an attitude so much towards the end of the day. I'm like, okay, well, she takes the other bus. So I'm just going to let her have a chill moment. I still don't know what's going on, but if I keep asking her what's wrong and she tells me nothing, I'm not going to keep asking again, So anyways, the next day, we actually join each other for lunch, and she's telling me we go for a walk in the park, actually. And she's telling me, I have something to speak to you about. And she starts out the conversation with, this is what pisses me off. So the first part of the conversation is her telling me how much I piss her off that I call people in front of her. And the only people I really call is my boyfriend because we have those conflicting schedules. She goes on to say that I left her out of invitations or events, which was very confusing because she's in the group chat. It's just that she muted the notifications. And then the last thing was that she was upset that I didn't wait for her to walk to the bus stop. Even though we do take 2 different buses, she wanted me to walk with her to her bus stop. So I, of course, respond well, for one, didn't know that me calling people in front of you upsetted you. So I'll be more cautious about that, apparently. 2, you're in the group chat that the invites are being sent out to. I can't help that you mute the chat, and we added you. I mean, what more did you want me to do? I even spoke to you in person when I finally saw you. So that was confusing. And then the third, girl, if I'm asking you if something's wrong, you keep telling me nothing with an attitude. Why do you think that I would not give you space? Girl, I'm not finna baby you. I don't sit there and be like, oh, she's upset, I should stick by her side. Girl, what? I'm going home. I get off at 10 p.m. I'm going home. I'm going to rest, and I'll see you tomorrow. If you feel better tomorrow, then we could talk. What? I also have to mention that the girl basically told me after she had this conversation with me about how much I pissed her off that she went to box in the park. Yes, box in the park. And honestly, in that moment, the box me in the park moment didn't really process in my brain because I'm still trying to process how this girl who was just coming over to my house and I give clothes to and da-da-da-da-da is telling me how much I pissed her off. I haven't been calling my boyfriend every single time I was with her, but why do you care if I call my boyfriend in front of you? I didn't get to process what was going on. She's over here showing me boxing moves, trying to do the boxing with me. And I'm just so confused. There's a person, another coworker in the park watching us and they're like, what is happening? And I'm like, that was weird, right? And they're like, yeah, it is. So that created some distance between me and Horsemouth. On my breaks, instead of coming to meet her, I was praying. And the God was telling me to pray, and I was praying on my breaks. So this is where it starts getting a little bit mixy. So the other girls started feeling like things were a little off, and they were asking, why is Horsemouth not responding in the chat? I basically said, hey, she feels like she feels left out. And they proceeded to confront the situation because, hey, we made this chat for the girls. That didn't go well, I'll just say. Long story short, she started cursing people out, threatening people, and basically saying that I'm trying to start shit. Even though, again, in all portions of this situation, I didn't send the invitation in the group chat. I made the group chat for a purpose of people being proactive, to have summer being fun for each other. And 3, I'm not your girlfriend. I'm not your boyfriend. I'm not finna keep tabs on you. If you don't want to respond, you don't want to respond. So obviously it was clear that the friendship was over. Nothing on my shoulders, but apparently it was a chip on her shoulder. So next few weeks was a lot of her being petty, creating group chats with people who were in work and recently left the job. And they're like, why is Clea not in here? Horsemouth was like, I don't know who that is. But then you're making a whole group chat for people to ask that question, which is okay. And then eventually it leads to a point where she sends a man who I've met on 2 occasions, a friend that she had me meet from her past. And he threatens me over text, which I then call and I say, what is this about? And he's like, yeah, well, she says that you're saying something. I said, and you have any proof or context? And he's like, well, she's saying that she's on vacation and it's nothing pertaining to her. Right. So you threatened me because she just said to threaten me. I don't get it. Anyways, we're going to have a part 2 because now I have to create that bridge and how this incorporates and falls into my job. So I'll call you on the next one, Bessie. I'm sorry.
Hi guys, my name is Heaven and I am a 17-year-old mother with an almost 3-year-old daughter. Mind you, I'm not that good at telling stories, but I'm going to try my best and hope this goes somewhere. So this is just like a little story time of how I got pregnant, when I found out I was pregnant, and just how old I was when I got pregnant. So I was off and on with this boy for about 1.5 years, almost 2 years before it led up to the pregnancy. So I was 13 years old, he was 14. I know we shouldn't have been having at that age, but we was under the influence and things just let up. So this was sometime around in March, and I believe it was like April when I decided to take a test. But I was at my homegirl's house and she was the first one to find out with me. When me and my homegirl both found out, like, we was excited, you know, like, she was jumping up and down, like, you know, we was just happy, I guess you could say. But deep down inside, like, I didn't really know what I wanted. So fast forward, I ended up going home. I took another test. I showed my people. And I really didn't expect the reaction that they gave. I thought it was really going to be something different. But they was very supportive and very reassuring at the time. So I told my grandma and my grandpa, again, they was very reassuring. And they ended up calling the clinic for me because, again, I was young. I was 13. And at that time, since I was so young, I really did need that reassuring and that support, you know, because I really didn't know deep down inside what I wanted to do. But I did know I didn't want to end the life of a beautiful baby. So, boom, I ended up going to a clinic, confirmed it again, and then she took me and my grandma to a back room and she gave us options. The options was abortion, up for adoption, or keep the baby. My grandma had asked her if we could have a few minutes to ourselves so we could talk and figure out, like, what I really wanted to do. My grandma had told me, like, you know, abortion is not really our thing, and, like, she kept reassuring me that I would have the support and there, you know, just people on my side if I do decide to keep this baby. Long story short, I wouldn't be doing it alone. So the doctor ended up coming back in. I had my final decision and I decided to keep my daughter, which I'm so glad I did, because when I heard the heartbeat, like, something inside of me just clicked. It changed. So then I ended up, somehow my siblings ended up finding out. I don't remember telling them, but I know my brothers, you know how brothers are, they're very overprotective. So my brother did surely have a couple words to say to my baby daddy. My sister, she was more so, like, kind of scared that the baby was gonna, like, end my life, you get what I'm saying? Because that's, like, the closest thing to death for a woman. But I wasn't a woman, I was a child. So personally, I feel like she had a lot of resentment towards me until I figured out why, you know? So then I ended up telling my baby daddy, the first thing that came out that man's mouth was get an abortion. The thing that came out my mouth was, nope, we wanted to act grown, you're going to take care of your responsibility. But personally, I wasn't going to force him to be in his daughter's life. So with that being said, the pregnancy was very rough. I feel like I really felt alone mentally, and, like, I didn't have my baby dad like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, we was off and on. Like, we didn't have a committed relationship. Like, some people get lucky, but I just got the bad luck. But I really didn't expect nothing to change from him, just because of the simple fact, like, it was like this before. So what made me think, like, oh, we got a baby now, it's going, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, so I really ended up doing my pregnancy alone. I had my family, you know, So, I mean, I had them, but, like, I didn't have the person that I really wanted at the time. But once my daughter came out, I did not want that man no more. Like, a month after, I didn't care what he did. I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? My whole pregnancy, I was alone. I didn't go see no man. I didn't do nothing, you know what I'm saying? I was just home, rubbing my belly, feeding my baby, taking care of myself, while he was out doing whatever he wanted to do with these females while I'm pregnant with the baby, you know? Like, and I mean it, I didn't talk to him about baby names. I didn't talk to him about baby showers. I didn't talk to this man about nothing. Everything that I did, like, I did it my own. Like, her name, I picked out. Clothes, diapers, shoes. I already had all that ready without his help. But, yeah, I would just really say I felt very, very alone. And I would never forget my first pregnancy just because, like, in my opinion, it wasn't as bad, but it was bad. You get what I'm saying? I know there's other people out here that have worse pregnancies than me. But for me to be alone, that was like my biggest thing. Like, I just felt alone. So it's just like, where the hell was y'all at? God, that's how long we've been off and on for. But it's also no hate to my baby dad. You know what I'm saying? Everybody deal with things differently.
Hello. I thought I would do a story time about the time not the time, but about how my father drugged my mom for well over 10 years probably. I will forewarn you, there's a lot of gaps in the story, like information that I can't really verify. Like, I'm not gonna go to my dad and be like, hey dad, how'd you drug my mom? You know, so I mean I was there when my dad was drugging my mom. Like, he did so every day, and like it was a lot of like mental like manipulation coming from my father. So let me just give some examples. So my father really villainized my mother to me and my brothers. He had us believing from a very young age that my mother was psychotic. Like, she was mentally unwell and she needed to be on medication. Like, he had told me that he had taken her to doctor's appointments and he had her diagnosed with, at first it was bipolar disorder, and then he told me she was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, or schizophrenic, or and just like, there's always something. It was, you know, my mom was mentally unwell. She was crazy. And as a kid, I believed this because my mom was unhinged. Like, looking back now, it was probably because of the drugs, but at the time, I was a child. Like, I was literally a child, and my mother was very erratic. Like, she was very angry, very upset, very out of it. My mom was always yelling at me, always screaming at me, like, absent-minded, tired all the time. Like, there wasn't a moment of peace when I was, interacting with my mother or just existing. Like, my mom was unwell, very much so. So, of course, like, seeing this behavior from my mother and then hearing this information from my father, I was like, yeah, Dad, you're right. Mom is crazy. She's crazy. And my dad was like, your mom needs this medication to be good. Like, and anytime my dad would give her medication, like, she would get really out of it. Like, my mom would be very out of it, and my dad was like, don't you see, like, your mom is doing better. Like, when she's on her meds, she's good, and when your mom's not on her meds, she's crazy psycho. And I was like, yeah, Dad, I see. Oh, and you're right. And he had said this to me and my brothers. So, like, my mom and my dad had a really bad relationship, obviously, and he was an alcoholic. He was never around. He had other families, like, cheating. We never had money. Like, he was a terrible dad, a terrible husband, and was very mean to my mother. And so, like, any affection he would give her, like, my mom just, like, grabbed onto it. And the way he was able to drug my mom was every morning he made her a cup of coffee. And I know you're asking me, Cammy, that's not giving her coffee, isn't drugging her. Well, there's a catch, okay? Like, every morning, my dad would make her coffee, and he had this, like, vial, this, like, clear vial that was, like, filled with a known medication. Like, I don't know what it was. I don't know what was in it. I don't know if it was straight up drugs or if it was, like, actually a medication. Like, because my dad, where he worked, he did have access to medication, so I don't know if he was stealing stuff or he was buying stuff. I don't know what he was doing, but he was taking pills and he was grinding them up into like a powder, and then every morning he would just, you know, put some in her coffee, mix it up, and give her coffee. And she had no idea. My mom had no idea that my dad was doing this. And my dad was doing this for the better half of, like, I don't know, like 15 years maybe? Like, it's hard to say. So my dad's drugging my mom for years and years and years, and, like, my mom wasn't, you know, doing well. Like I said, very angry, absent-minded. Like, she would forget to pick us up from school. She would scream at everything. Like, it was terrible. Like, that's, like, I could get into a whole other video about, like, how it affected my mother, but pretty much how my mom found out was, I don't know, I think I was in middle school. Like, so I was, like, 13, 14, maybe 15, and she had found this vial of drugs in my dad's, like, drawer of clothes, or I don't know where he had it, but she had found it, like, stashed in his things. And so my mom, like, runs to my brother, and my dad's not home, and he, like, goes to my oldest brother, and she's, like, freaking out. She's like, oh my god, like, I think your dad is drugging me. I'm so scared. What do I do? What do I do? And let me remind you, my brothers and I, like, we've all been conditioned into believing my mother is psychotic, and my brother, oldest brother at the time, his instinct and the way he's been trained by my father is to protect my dad. So my oldest brother at the time was like, no, mom, those are mine. I've been depressed. Like, I've been taking pills. Like, I've been taking stuff, and, like, it's not yours, it's mine, and dad's been hiding it from you. So I think for another year or two, like, my mom was still, like, she didn't really fully understand, and she had an inkling, but, like, it wasn't fully uncovered yet. And then I believe my oldest brother turned 18. I'm pretty sure he ended up telling her, like, actually, no, like, dad's been drugging you. We all been knowing it. And those weren't mine. Like, those were your, like, that's the stuff that dad's been using, like, to drug you. And, so yeah, you can imagine, how that affected my mother after the fact. She will not let my dad touch anything. And they're still married. So that's a thing. But, you know, unfortunately, they're still married, and, like, my mom will not let my dad, like, touch her food, touch anything. Like, the one time my mom's had to have, or the 2 times my mom's had to have surgery, like, I've had to take care of her because she doesn't trust my dad with dosages or medication or anything. My mom has a hard time, like, taking medication. She has, like, really bad, like, medication anxiety, understandably so, because of, like, the trauma from my dad drugging her with an unknown substance for 10, 15 years. So, like, that is terrible. But yeah, so my whole life, since I was literally as far back as I can remember, like, my dad was drugging my mother, and I was seeing him do it. And I mean, that's just something I'm in therapy and I am unpacking a lot of this, but it's affected me as well. Like, I also have medication anxiety. Like, I get scared when I have to take new things, and but I mean, obviously it's not going to affect me maybe as much as it affects my mom. And I do think my mom has some, like, lingering issues because of being on medication that she potentially didn't need. Like I said, there's a lot of gaps. Like, don't know if my mom's truly been diagnosed with anything. Don't know what the medication was that my dad was giving my mom. But I do know from her behavior and how secretive he was and everything, like, he was dosing my mom. And I do believe it's because during that time my dad was running around, secret life, secret kids, affairs. Like, my dad didn't want to deal with my mom. Like, he wanted to run around and do whatever he wanted without having to face my mom and, like, without having to deal with her. So I feel like he drugged her so he could just, like, you know, get away with doing all this awful stuff. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I'll try to answer them if I can, but that is a story. And obviously I have a lot of other terrible, terrible stories, but that's probably one of the bigger ones for sure.
I don't understand. How are you going on all these vacations? Aren't you living paycheck to paycheck? Yeah, but girl, I don't have health insurance. So that's how I'm saving all this money. I just am banking on the fact that my immune system is going to take me into overdrive because I'm 29. I can't afford health insurance and a healthy life. What? No, I'm going to travel because I'd way rather be sick in a foreign country.
All right, I'm going to do a story time of why I got fired at Ulta Beauty. First of all, I just want to say I did not expect my post to go as crazy as it did. I was just being nostalgic and wanted to just share my experience before the new year was over, but I'll get into it. So I'm going to give the people what they want. So it begins on October 3rd. There's a vendor that always comes in. Her name, we'll call her Sparkles. Me and her got to know each other on a daily basis because she would literally be at my store every single weekend, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every single week. I don't remember what specific week it was, but we were having an additional 35% off of our employee discount. And me being the person I was, you know, I'm asking everybody what they gonna buy, what y'all gonna buy, what y'all discount. And I remember Sparkles was right there, and I don't remember, but me and her were just super cool. Anyways, so I don't know if I offered or if she was like, hey, can you buy me something, you know? And at Ulta, it's kind of like unspoken. People buy things for people, but they don't ever say it out loud. Like, never. And so I bought her some stuff, and she Zelled me, and it was like $200 worth of stuff. So 3 weeks go by, everything's normal. Sparkles is still coming into the store. She's still talking to me. And like the next week, I get a call from my bank, and I'm like, okay, that's weird. And my bank is calling me, and they're telling me my bank account is under investigation. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, somebody's disputing a Zelle charge of $200. And inside, I just had a gut feeling, so I knew her real name, so I said, is it blah, blah? And they said, yes, do you know her? And I said, yes, I do. They were like, sorry, I don't know what happened there. This is my first time making a video. They were like, is there any way you can get her to undispute this charge? Because we have withdrawn the money I had in my bank, which was only like $80, but they took all of it. And they were like, can you see if she can undispute this charge? And honestly, I was pissed. I was like, you know, out of the kindness of my heart, I did something for somebody. They know my name. They know who I am. They sent me money. So why are they even disputing this charge to begin with? So I was just really upset. And the next day I was going back and forth. I'm like, should I even say anything? I didn't want her to say anything and get me in trouble. So I thought in my right mind that it would be a good thing to go tell my GM, because honestly, I really thought this lady was doing sketchy shit. It made me think, is this really Sparkles? Does she even work for the people she says she works? Like, she's obviously not a good person if she's doing this to me. So anyway, I go and tell my GM, and I'm very honest about everything. I remembered she even pulled up the policy of the employee discount. We read over it together. She's like, it says nothing about being terminated. Like, you're going to get a written final warning, but that's all that's going to happen. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I've never had any record, like any bad, you know, just never had any write-ups or anything. My attendance was always perfect. Literally always had 0.5 points, and that was literally it. Like, I was an angel. So she's like, when you get back from PTO, we'll talk about this, or we'll do your written final warning, because that's what I thought was gonna happen. So I go on vacation, I come back, and I'm like, the vibes are kind of off. I look at my schedule and I'm like, why am I scheduled 11 to 6s all week? Because them people like to have me close. So that was weird. And then the next thing, like, I walk in and I don't know, you could just tell when the vibes are off. Like, she was just like, hey, like, welcome back, you know? And I was asking her about things that were coming up, and she was just like, yeah. Like, I just knew deep down something was happening. So as soon as the closer comes in, which was my supervisor, the experience manager, they pull me into the office, and I'm like, okay, I'm about to get my written warning. Like, everything's normal. I even asked them, I said, is this going to affect my transfer? Because I wanted to transfer because I was going to move to Fort Worth. It was a whole big thing. And she goes, this is going to affect everything. So I'm like, okay. So I'm just sitting there, and then the closing manager comes in, and I just blatantly said, like, am I getting fired? You know, I'm just one of those people, like, just say it out loud to me. And she goes, yes, you are. And so I felt completely blindsided. I was honestly crushed. I didn't know what to do, and I felt like it was all my fault. But I mean, at the end of the day, shit happens. A job is a job. Corporate, I mean, if you die, corporate's literally going to replace you tomorrow. So, it is what it is. So yeah, that's why I got fired at Ulta. I don't know if it's going to be something that y'all's going to be like, oh my gosh. But yeah, that's what happened.
Funny. Yes, but not funny. Haha. Funny weird.
Sorry, y'all. I love to talk, but I'm putting both of these up at the same time, so you get part 1 and part 2. Don't worry. But basically, he confessed his love for this other girl in October while he still had a girlfriend. That being me. And I'm not going to show who it is, but in the screenshots, okay, this is the girl that told me. This is the other girl. The other girl says she doesn't go to Hiram, but I have her Instagram. Yes, he did, and then she broke up with him a week after because he's weird as fuck. And then the girl said, what's her Instagram? And then they said my Instagram. So glad, you know. Yeah. And then, girl who told me goes, so I fear I've been talking to this man since April. Yeah. And then this is just where it gets even worse for you, Donovan, because I have everything that you said. So let's just scroll. Okay, now we're getting to the juicy stuff. We're gonna call the girl Sally, okay? And this is all from yesterday. I have screenshots, by the way, so you can't lie and say that I'm lying, because I got proof, okay? So Sally goes, she brings up everything on the T app, she writes it, and she sends it to him, and she goes, so I don't know who you're hurting, but, and then Donovan goes, damn. And Sally goes, yep. Donovan goes, that's crazy. And then she goes, who are you possibly hurting this much? He goes, nobody, for real. And she goes, right, obviously someone. And then he goes, like, dead ass. And then she goes, now you got other bitches. You have to be hurting at least one. And he goes, swear I am not. And then she goes, you swear you're not hurting them? Have you ghosted anyone recently? And he goes, no, I haven't. Yes, I swear. So he swears that he's not hurting anyone. Okay. And then she goes, well, have you had a girlfriend before? Like, I'm trying to figure out who be commenting this, because what? And then he goes, girlfriend before what? And she goes, oh, sorry, October, when you told blank, the other girl, you were in love with her. And he goes, I didn't tell blank I was in love with her. And she goes, why am I being told that you did, though? And then he goes, I didn't tell her I was in love with her. I told her I liked her a long time ago, but I was never in love with her. And then she goes, okay, but did you date Carla last month? Keep in mind, these texts were sent yesterday. Okay? Yesterday. And this man, he goes, broke up before last month. No, we didn't. No, we fucking didn't. We broke up. I broke up with you November 2nd. So we were still dating. We were still dating in October, and we were still dating in September. And then she goes, so you broke up in September? You lasted a month? And he goes, And then she goes, right, are you serious? what was going on August to November? And then he goes, what do you mean? And she goes, what was going on August to November? Tell me the truth. Did you have a girlfriend? Lovely Donovan goes, no, I didn't, being honest. I couldn't find any pictures in my phone because they were all on Snapchat. But let's just look. Let's take a look down memory lane. August 24th at your sister's quinceañera, where I met every single one of your family members. Every single one. Okay, this is cut off, but it's August 5th. Then we went to a soccer game with my dad. With my fucking dad. Or how about this? September 14th, when you came over to my house. Like, or how about the time that we went to the fair? Or that we went to another soccer game? Or that we went to go out to eat maybe like 5 or 6 different times. Like, or when we went shopping. What about those times? What about those? But moving on, she then goes, what was going on August to November? Tell me the truth. Did you have a girlfriend? And he goes, no, I didn't, being honest. And then she goes, Carla Rodriguez, doesn't sound familiar. And he says, yeah. And then she goes, you weren't dating her from August to November 2nd? And he goes, November 2nd, no. And then she goes, oh, sorry, October. Right, so you still lied to me. And he goes, about? And then she goes, how about having a girlfriend after I asked you multiple times and you said no? Like, why not just tell me about it? And he goes, I don't know, and I'm stupid not to because we're friends. And then she goes, right, because that. Okay. So then he proceeded to tell Sally, I know what I did, but I was trying to fix things. I was fixing things. I know what I did. I was going to do it on my own time, because then she goes, if you were trying to fix it, you would have told her everything right then and there. And then he goes, I was going to do it on my own time. You don't have to text her again. It's my relationship, not yours. I know what I did, and I was going to fix it. Stop acting like I did you wrong, because I didn't. So overall, just want to say, Donovan Martinez, you're a bitch, and you deserve every bad thing that's happening to you. You thought that your little fragile ego would feel better because you pulled more than one girl, and then you decided to go and fuck up a relationship in which I did nothing wrong, and I can confidently say that I did nothing wrong in that relationship. Ever. So it's all on you, buddy. It is all on you. But anyways, let's just circle back to some other things that I need to clear up. So circling back to Halloween night that we went out, keep in mind matching costumes, right? Next day, this man posts on Instagram, and I'm looking through the Instagram being like, oh, we're gonna get a photo, or I'm gonna get featured, because keep in mind, we had pictures of that night. Instead, this man decides to post pictures with other girls, and all of his friends, not a single post with me in it. So obviously I'm irritated as fuck, and I sent him a DM, and I say, loving the feature, because yes, I'm salty, and I'm gonna say something about it. To which then he replies, you're irritated because I didn't put you on the Instagram post? And then he goes, you're a part of my life and everyone knows about you. Clearly not. And then he goes, just because I don't post you on social media, it doesn't mean they don't know about you. You're more than a social media post. And you know what I think about that, Donovan? I think the real reason you didn't post me was because you knew that every other girl that you were talking to was gonna see that. Because even one of them commented on that Instagram post. Oh, so I guess that's why you didn't want to post me. Not because I'm worth more than an Instagram post. And then also, keep in mind again, we dated. We were dating all of October. This is, and I'm not going to show the girl, so you're going to get Desmos. This is a picture of him hanging out with a girl at 5 a.m. 5 a.m. October 18th. Which you ask yourself, why would a man who has a girlfriend be hanging out with other girls at 5 a.m. and not tell his girlfriend, unless he was doing something? And then last thing, you guys know we broke up November 2nd, right? November 3rd, he starts apologizing, begging to get me back, blah, blah, blah. Then this is him, November 4th, at dinner with a girl, at dinner with another girl, while he was trying to make our relationship work. And this is my favorite part, so if y'all stay till the end, please. 3-minute video of me confronting him on FaceTime yesterday after I found out everything, and let's let's just say that this man, guilty. I want to ask you something.
What?
Can you tell me why you were telling people that we broke up in September?
What's up?
And you going out to eat with girls while we were dating? And hanging out with girls while we were dating and telling them that we weren't together?
I literally just went to Olive Garden.
So I'm not going to post the whole thing, I'm posting snippets. His response, I literally went to Olive Garden. Like, that makes it any better? I don't know, like, okay, I guess I should be happy it was in a steakhouse, like. That we broke up in September?
I didn't tell anyone we broke up in September.
Are you sure?
Yes. Yes, I'm sure. What?
So you cheated on me.
No, I didn't cheat on you.
You literally cheated on me.
No, I didn't.
You cheated on me.
I didn't.
You did. And I have proof. I have literal proof that you cheated on me and that you told people that we broke up. So I just want to end with this, Donovan. I caught you. You can't lie yourself out of this one, buddy. You're manipulative, you're a bitch, you're a cheater, and you're a liar. You also were texting other girls asking to spend the night while we were dating, thinking that I wouldn't find out. Well, I did. Here's your karma. You didn't cheat on me with people from Kent. Don't even try. Like, I know you cheated on me, and I know you cheated on. Yes, you did. So don't even try. Don't even fucking try to lie and say that you didn't cheat, because you did. And I have proof, and I know that you did, and I know who you did it with. And I just think it's crazy, but that shows how bad of a person you are. You're a little bitch, and I fucking hate you, and I don't ever want to talk to you again. So fuck you, bye.